Zoom and we're in a meeting with each other, and I'm going to interview you. So I am sure people are going to be excited to hear what you have to say. I want to just kind of give a quick introduction as to why I brought Barbara on today. I'm a serial entrepreneur, as many of you know, and I'm a joiner. So I always am starting new hobbies. I'm finding out about something out in the world, and I want to learn everything about it. So I have all these things I want to do and learn, and projects I want to start. I want to write this book, or start this new business. And what I find too is a lot of entrepreneurs who are here with us in this group on the Make Great Happen with Cardsmith group is they are also like that. I don't find people lacking for how to come up with ideas. The challenge is how to prioritize our time, how to know what we should focus on and what we should do. And I met Barbara recently in a women's group, and she said something really, really interesting that I wanted you guys to hear about. So we're going to get to that in a minute. I just want to give you a little more, I guess, background. I'm a pretty logical person. I have an open mind, but I tend to be fairly structured in my thinking. I'm a project manager type person, kind of a planner. But I think what I needed to do when I met Barbara is sort of set that aside and be open to like this question of what if we could ask the universe what we should do next? Because that was the question that she brought to me, and that's the title of our show today. So I would just ask you to, as you listen to this, just sort of set your skepticism aside for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and listen to Barbara and consider, like, what if this were true? So with that, Barbara, I know you're very accomplished. You've done a lot of things. You've written a ton of books. You've been in New York as a very successful trainer and coach. Do you want to give us a quick intro so people know a little bit more about who you are?
Well, as you said, I'm from New York. I moved to Portland 2 years ago, and I am a therapist who's been working in the fields of energy and consciousness literally all my life, even as a child before there was a label. And I've taken just about every kind of modality to find out what's the closest to truth on this planet that I could get. And about 8 years ago, I found what I consider the most amazing body of work on the planet about change and really getting to a place where one could actually know who they are, not the lie that they bought or that was perpetrated on them of who we are, which is usually about being wrong and less than. And so it's quite amazing because it works with the most cutting edge state-of-the-art energy tools on the planet. And if you want to change anything in your body or in your life, the quickest way to do it is with energy. So as I say to people, and not to make anyone, wrong, but people like to change at different rates. Some people are terrified of change. Some people want change, but it's like saying, if I want to go to New York, do I want to go in an ox cart, a bicycle, a car, or a jet plane?
Right.
I would take the jet plane, but some people would like to take the car. So basically what I say to people is, if you're a person, especially if you're a coach, a therapist, a healer, and you want the most incredible tools that can change people's lives literally within sometimes minutes or absolutely a session. And I always say people will never believe me because it seems so insane, but it is. I could tell stories, I'm not going to do it now, but of changes that occur in people's lives that therapists could work 14 years with someone and not have the change that this body of work could create in an hour.
Right, right. Well, that's very interesting, and I think that's what we're all kind of looking for is who are we and why are we here on Earth? So that's a big topic, and I'm actually excited. I may actually do a session with you, Barbara, coming up. I'm still a little skeptical, but you're
Well,
intriguing.
you know what they say, the worst skeptics become the best believers or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Well, today I wanted to get you to kind of share with our group what you said to me, or a variation on what you said, because we were talking about I think productivity in the Moxie group. This is a Women with Moxie, and there was, I don't know, 20 women on board that call, and we were talking about how do we decide what projects to do. And you said something really interesting. Do you remember what you said?
Well, the first thing I would say when you use the word decide, okay, is that when you decide something, Decide comes from some past event, okay? Because how would you decide if you didn't already experience it or hear of it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to decide because then you're going back into your past. And the idea is to be all of you and to be greater, more greater, better, and have that in your life. You don't want to go backwards. You want to go forwards. And so then it's like you want to ask a question like, what else is possible that I have never acknowledged or even thought of? So let me explain that a little bit. Questions are algorithm interrupts. When you ask a question, it's actually quite magical. The energy that is holding your quote answer from not occurring in your life is let go by asking the question. I'm hoping that makes sense. So in other words, if you said, well, we all kind of think we're kind of wrong, right? We don't walk around saying, I am so great, I'm so amazing, I'm so talented. Okay, we probably walk around saying, well, I could do this, but I don't really do it that well. She does it really better than me. And that's the lie that we buy in this reality. Because as soon as we come in, we are actually made wrong. On this planet, where I say everything is the opposite of what they tell you, being right is the drug of choice. Why? Do you know why it's the drug of choice?
Because it keeps us safe. I don't know.
Sort of, yes, because we're terrified of being wrong. And that is the biggest reason that we don't have everything that we desire and that we're not showing up as who we truly are, because we're terrified to go past that place because we think we're going to be wrong. And my question to anyone who's in that place, which is just about everyone, is what if there was no wrong? What if you could only be, quote, mistaken for a nanosecond? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, well, what else is possible? What can I do now? How can I change this?
It does shift the energy, yeah.
Absolutely, that's just it. It shifts the energy, and that's the biggest part here. So when you shift that energy, it's like you're in this mud pile and you can't get out. And then all of a sudden you say something like, what's right about this I'm not getting? What's right about me I'm not getting? What else is possible? And all of a sudden, just as you said, the energy will automatically shift. And now, instead of being on the second floor of the building where you don't have a view, now you're on the 10th floor of the building, and wow, the perspective is so different. So that's one of the tools, asking questions. So whenever something is occurring in your life that, well, whether it's wonderful or if it's not so great, you still want to ask a question, because asking questions opens up the space for more possibilities.
Okay.
So what else is possible? So through the day, okay, so everyone who is listening, write these down. They're as simple as a 5-year-old's homework. What else is possible? How can it get any better than this? What's right about this I'm not getting? What's right about me I'm not getting? What would it take to create a new situation here? So if you're talking about your business, who do I need to speak to so this would change? Or what's not allowing my business to grow? And then all of a sudden you could be in the bookstore. It happened to me once. The book literally fell off the shelf into my hand. This is the magic of the universe. So asking questions will start to change your life, as simple as it sounds.
Right, right. I think I do that to some degree. Maybe, I'm always looking at books, and like almost every other day it's like, oh, this pops out and I'm like, I gotta do that because of this. And so what I do is I put that in my Cardsmith board, which is a place where I just capture all my ideas. And then later I look at them and I'm like, okay, which of these ideas should I do? Do you have any advice? Because I'm like looking at all these things and like I could write, there's a book I want to write. There's there's a certification that I'm interested to get. You know, there's a new business idea I want to do. There's a workshop I want to develop.
Yes,
There's all these
yes.
things, right? I only have time for some. So how do I, that's when I say, how do I decide?
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you right now.
Maybe decide's the wrong word.
Yes, decide. What can I choose?
What can I choose?
Yes,
Okay.
all about choice. Choice is the number one tool in the universe. The only thing is most people don't know how to get to the place, that choice, where you actually can choose to create. Okay, it's
Mm.
not like, oh, well, yeah, I'm choosing to have a new car, or I'm choosing to have 15 new clients this week. That's just fluff. Okay, it's a place, an energetic place that you have to literally learn how to get to ask the questions about it. That's something that we need to work with a little bit more, with changing the person's energy. But going back to your question, so again, everything in the universe is molecules, and that's quantum physics. It's not woo-woo or whatever, you know, it's literally what is. And it's the what is that most people don't know about because they don't want us to know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because then we couldn't be controlled, and we did let, that's another story for another time. But anyway, so all you have to do when you have all of these ideas, the first thing you want to do is you want to get a book. Get the prettiest book that you could find and make it your, you call it whatever you want, your idea book, your creativity book, whatever.
Okay.
And
Temporarily, I'm going to take a note here.
okay, that's fine. And so as soon as you get them, like I have a pad or a little recorder on my night table, because actually for most people, in the middle of the night sometimes, you know, you just get this awareness, and it's like the universe is singing to you. Okay, it's just like giving you the information that you're actually asking for, but you don't even know you're asking for sometimes, or sometimes you're actually asking for it and there it is. And I don't know about anyone else, but for me, I'll get it. I'll be so excited. It actually happened last night. My new book is coming out next month, and I had some ideas about, you know, how to get it out there, because I'm a technology dinosaur. But anyway, if I don't write it down immediately or record it, by the time I get up, I totally forget about it. So you write them down. And then when you get up or whenever, what you want to do is you want to ask. Again, it's, you know, some people will think, what is she, crazy? But you have to understand, again, the universe is consciousness. And so it's, you know, like, you know, I have a story of when you're asking questions or when you're looking for things, and I call the planet that we live on an insane asylum. I used to call it the Truman Show. Did you ever see that movie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then I went to calling it the Truman Show on steroids, and then I said, you know what, it's just an insane asylum, because just about everything we're taught is a lie. Reality is actually the opposite of almost everything we're taught, and that's another story for another day.
Okay.
The thing is, so I'll ask you this question. If you were with a friend and you were on your way to a movie, and your friend happened to say to you, Monica, my cousin, and I'm going to be a little funny here. I don't mean to be derogatory to any group of people. My cousin is living in an insane asylum, and it's his birthday today, and I have a gift. Do you mind if I just stop off for about 10 minutes? And you say, keeping with my little joke here, oh no, I've never been to one. I'd like to see what it's like. So you both walk in, she goes over to her cousin and she's talking with him, giving the present, and you're just sitting on the sofa waiting. Well, meanwhile, one of the inmates comes over and sits down to you. And the question that I have for you is, if you were having some business questions or a financial issue, would you turn to the person sitting next to you, the inmate, and say, excuse me, but I have a financial issue going on right now. Could you help me?
Right. No.
Okay, would you do that?
No.
But guess what? We do that every day, because we go to ask those people that are supposed to be experts in whatever field. This is the thing. So let's say someone writes a book on how to lose weight, okay? And they lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks. And now everyone runs out to buy that book, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay. But this is the thing. We all have a GPS system. A GPS system is your knowing and your awareness, and it guides you to everything that would make your life expand and be fun and be playful and be a contribution to this planet. However, when we came in, because we were born in the insane asylum, they never told us that. They gave
Okay.
us this story that we end up believing that we're small, we're little, we're wrong. Okay, so we don't believe in us. We have to go and find that expert, whether they're on TV, whether they're on an interview, whether they wrote a book. And then we go looking for them, and then what do?
Right.
Follow what they're doing. But guess what? Most of the time, it's not going to work because they had the awareness for that book or for how to lose weight or whatever in the middle of the night, as I was telling you. And
Mm-hmm.
they wrote it down and then they followed it. But that was their GPS system. That's why it worked. If
Oh,
you
yeah.
try to follow someone else's GPS system, guess what? It's not you.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
I think I can see a lot of places where in business, and we're all business people that are told you got to do this digital marketing and you have to do this strategy to get clients. And
Absolutely. You know, when I lived in New York, I really didn't have to do anything. I was known as the coach's coach and the healer's healer. I just showed up. Life was glorious. And then I
Mhm.
moved here to Portland, and it was like no one really cared about energy and what I was doing. And so I had to choose another way to do things. So in New York, I would be the guest speaker for women's networking groups, and I'd come, I'd speak, and I'd leave. Here, I had to join the groups, which I never did, so I didn't know what they were about. And all of a sudden, I'm listening to all of these speakers, okay? Now,
Mhm.
all of these speakers, wonderful, great, and had wonderful stories, and they're telling everyone else, you have to do this. If you don't do this, you can't have that. If you don't brand, if you don't have the video isn't done by interior designer, and if your printing isn't this color, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm definitely in the insane asylum here. And everyone takes these copious notes and whatever, but guess what? As I said, most of the time, it's not going to work because they're not following their GPS system. And that's one of the biggest clues in life, to show up being you, because every one of us has magic. And that magic is what is not only going to be the gift and the contribution to you in your life, but it's going to touch other people, because other people are going to see that you're willing to show up as who you really are.
Mhm.
You're not
Mhm.
hiding.
Mhm.
You're not embarrassed. You don't think you're wrong. You're out there and you're willing to be as crazy and insane and as wrong as you could be. And by the way, there's another tool. If you're one of these people, and everyone is, that you're afraid to do new things, or you're afraid to go to the karaoke bar or whatever because you don't want to be wrong, okay, then what you want to say, now hold on to your seat because it's going to be weird and funny and you'll wonder why you would say it, but you want to say all through the day, what would it take for me to be as wrong and stupid as I can be?
Mhm.
Now, it sounds funny, I know, but when you say it, what happens is all the energy that you've bought through your life, and of course, every lifetime, if people are believing in that, but anyway, doesn't matter. All the energy that you bought, all those lies that you were made wrong, and you could ask me after, why are we made wrong? Oh, that's a question that I'll forget. But anyway, all of the energy that you bought that was perpetrated on you about how wrong you were will start to come up so it can leave, so you could change it. And
Hmm.
that's the beauty with working with energy. So all you'd have to do through the day, and it's play. What would it take for me to be as wrong and stupid as I can be?
Right. Right.
And
Okay.
then all of a sudden, that energy will start coming up. And then, well, I'll give the short version. All you have to do is say Pod Pak, which is point of creation. And point of creation is where you originally bought the lie. So let's say you were a little girl and you loved to sing, but your mother had very bad migraines, right? So you would dance around singing, being so joyful and happy, but what would your mother be doing? Exactly. Okay. And so either because you had the greatest mother in the world and you loved her and you didn't want her to, be in pain or cry, or you had the worst mother in the world who would punish you, okay? Doesn't matter. It works the same way. The bottom line is you give up you. You give up your voice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there you go. That's the beginning of the end of who we are. And it happens to everyone when you come in. And all those lies are perpetrated on us. That's energy. So you come in as this bright, shining being, and little by little, you are packed down with mud. Okay?
Right.
Not like having a facial mud thing. This is worse. And so what happens is, especially with kids nowadays, by the time they're 7 or 8, they're gone. It's just an imitation, a role, a costume, a character that they actually created so they could fit in with their herd. And the herd begins with the parents, and then it goes to the friends, and then it goes to the teachers, and da 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 da.
Right.
So
Right.
the point is, no one knows who they really are because they've dumbed and numbed themselves down to fit in. And the beautiful thing about this body of work that I facilitate, Access Consciousness, it has these very simple and playful tools that we're playing with a little here, and sometimes within moments, okay? And sometimes it needs some more time, whatever you're choosing. It just lifts, the energy just leaves, and there's a whole new space. So it's like saying you're living in a studio apartment, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a 10-room house. Wow. Now,
Right.
the thing
Right.
about that is someone like me is going to love that, okay? Because I love big spaces. But someone else is going to be terrified because it's too big, it's too
Mm-hmm.
different, and it's too scary. And so, again, it's like, okay, so where did you buy that energy from?
Okay.
Everything is simply energy that we took on, however it got there, and then we start creating from that energy. Now, if that's wonderful and great, that's fantastic. But for most people, it's not. For most people, everything they buy is a lie about them.
Okay. So back to what you started to say about getting the pretty book.
Oh,
And for
yes. So
someone
get
that
yes,
I have
yes,
a
yes.
lot of inspiration and I'm like, yeah,
Okay,
that's the thing. That's me.
okay. I know I could
I,
go on. I could go on forever.
if
So,
I have 5 of those things, like, yay, that's me. I want to do that. But they're
okay,
kind of in different
yes.
directions. How do I
So the
choose?
first thing you do is write it down
Okay.
in your book. Now you ask what it is. So let's say you have an idea for a new book.
Okay.
Okay. If you start to write this book, and I'm sure many people who are writers out there, ooh, sorry about that.
It's okay.
Many people who will be listening will probably have a book that they thought was so fantastic. They started to write it and either they never could get through or they wrote it and nothing happened. Why? Because when the energy comes, so let's say of this book, this idea for the book, you want to ask it. Remember, quantum physics, everything is molecules of consciousness. So you can communicate with everything, your computer, your car, everything. And if you start doing that, you'll see your life will change. However, now you're going to ask the book. So it's like the energy of this book is coming to you in the middle of the night, tapping you on the head and saying, hello, this is who I am. This is my story. You get all excited, but you forget to ask, oh, that's wonderful. Is it time for you now? Is it time for me to receive you and write you now? Now, if you get a yes, and it'll come in different ways, but I will teach you one way after, remind
Okay.
me, then great. Get out your paper, your typewriter, with your typewriter. Look, I'm aging myself. You know what I'm saying. And start writing.
Yeah.
However, if it says no, then you want to ask a couple of more questions. Okay, would it be next year? Okay, and then you're going to I'm going to teach you the little tool. Maybe 5 years. Yes, 5 years. Oh my God, I have to wait for 5 years. Yes, but I'm sure you'll get another idea tomorrow night or next week that'll say yes now. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay, sure.
Okay, otherwise you're taking your creativity and the creation energy you're pulling in, but it's sort of wasted because it's not ready to birth itself yet.
Interesting.
Okay? Cool. Okay, so this is the tool that you will use for this and for anything, okay? And the tool is heavy or light.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to have you and anyone else who'd like to play with magic, close your eyes for a moment.
All right.
And think of something that occurred in your life that wasn't so great. Don't worry, we're going to take it away. And the energy is going to probably feel contracted or heavyish.
All right.
Okay. Do you get that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now open your eyes. Okay, now close your eyes. Close them again. And now I want you to think of the most fun and playful thing that has ever occurred in your life, the most wonderful moment. See, now your face already is changing. Okay?
Yeah, I see.
Now that probably feels light,
Mm-hmm.
fluffy, and expansive, as if the space of you expanded. Did you feel that?
Yes,
Cool.
I did.
Okay. Now I have to say there will be some people who wouldn't feel that. And it's not that they're wrong, and it's not that they don't have some gift that you have. It's just that they have a lot of structure in their body. Not going to go into that right now, but very easily I could teach you how to get rid of that. But anyway, that's another story. Okay, that's your GPS system. That's a part of your GPS system. All you have to do is this. Ask any question, okay, that you want. Let's say, well, let's get back to the book. Okay, so if I write the book now, or if I go on this diet, or if I go to Italy for my vacation, whatever, okay, you just ask a question, and then you put on it, what would my life be like in 5 years? Now, we're not interested in what your life will be like in 5 years. That simply takes your energy and moves it out into space to see just so you get the awareness of what's going on out there. Okay, I'm not going to get into the whole story now. It's sort of like, how do the birds, I've been telling this story for God knows how many years, and I don't know which birds, ducks or geese, that fly to Florida in the winter, you know?
Okay, yes.
So my question to you is, how do they know when to pack their bags to fly to Florida? Do they get a newspaper? Do they get a call from their friend Sam, and Sam says, hey, Monica, it's time to pack your bags. We're going to Florida. The cold weather is coming, okay?
No,
How
they
do they
don't.
know? Because they have awareness as we do. However, nobody told them not to use their awareness. They know how to use it.
That's a good story. I like that.
Yes,
The
I have
animals
lots of
know.
good stories. So this is how you use this tool. Because when you ask, what would my life be like in 5 years? Your space, we're not solid. Actually, we're just energy, molecules of consciousness, and our bodies are actually inside of us because we're everywhere. Okay, once again, quantum physics, not just a make-believe story.
Okay.
So when you ask the question, your being, your space expands out. For instance, let's say a psychic who's a really good psychic, okay, and when they tell you something, oh, in 3 years I see this happening, and then you get to 3 years and it actually happens.
Right.
That's how they know. They're just moving themselves out into space and they get that energy. So when you ask this question, what would my life be like in 5 years if I write this book? It's either going to be that heavy one that you had first when you thought about something that wasn't great in your life, which would be a no.
Right, right. Okay.
However, if it got light and fluffy and expansive, it's a yes. So
Okay.
If I
Yeah.
write this book now, what would my life be like in 5 years? And it's light and fluffy. Go to it, girl. Start writing.
All right.
Simple?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I'm going to try this out later
Yes.
today.
Yes. Well, just keep using it. Don't try it one time. Just keep using it for everything.
Just keep using it for everything. Right, right.
This is a tool for life.
Yeah. What about all these like little niggling tasks we have to do? We're business people, right? And we have to do everything ourselves. And there's all these things we have to do, but they don't feel very light. They feel heavy, but we have
Okay,
to do
got it.
them. Any advice for us there?
Yes, absolutely. And it'll come with a funny story. Well, not a funny
Okay.
story, a great story.
Always.
Okay, yes. So everyone has their to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about that is you don't want to be in structure with your to-do list. Remember, ultimate structure, did I say this? Ultimate structure in the body is death. I don't know if I said that or not, but anyway, it is.
Okay.
You don't want structure, okay? You want space. You create in space. You might want a little ribbon of organization, okay, but not structure. Structure is what keeps us in the past. It keeps us small and it keeps us limited, which is what they want. Okay, so you want to be in just total allowance of everything with no point of view. A point of view is what takes away consciousness. So in other words, it keeps you stuck in a story that you're most probably going to keep for most of your life, which will take away 90% of what could be possible for you. It's really another topic, but yeah, talk to me another time about that. And everyone else, you talk to me another time.
Okay.
So let's go back to this story. So
Space and not structure.
you have your to-do list. Now, everyone, of course, has their to-do list. However, the way most people choose what's on the to-do list is, how do you write your things down? Do you have like your important things on the top and your like walk the dog in the park on the bottom?
I do it actually all in one list and I rank them, usually the night.
That's my point. Yes, you
Yeah.
rank them. Okay. You see, you're a very good girl of this reality. You've been taught very well. That's the decision and the conclusion. That's how we live here. We live from decision and conclusion. And that keeps us as small as this little box, because that is all in the past. Every conclusion you have and every decision you have is from the past. You could have learned it at 3 years old, okay, which is, oh, that's another story. Did you ever hear the story about the ham at Thanksgiving? So the little girl is watching her mother cut off both sides of the ham and then put it in the pot. And the little girl says, Mom, why are you cutting off the ends of the ham? And she says, I don't know. Grandma did it. Go ask Grandma. So she goes to Grandma and Grandma gives her the same answer. I don't know. Go ask great grandma. Well,
Right.
she went there. She could go for the rest of, the time, but she finally got to the last one that was alive. And when she was asked the question, she said, because I didn't have a pan big enough. Okay.
Yes.
So the point is, this is what we do. We keep taking everything that was incorrect in the first place, okay, or maybe could have been, when the pan really was too big, but we just keep taking that information and we pass it to the next day and the next month and the next generation, okay, which is why the planet literally has, I'm not going to say that. Okay, I won't go there. But anyway, that's why we're in the issues on this planet that we're in. Okay.
Okay.
So the only thing that could change that is consciousness, which is living with no judgment. And that's another story. So let's go back to your list. So you don't want to go from the conclusion and the decision of this is important and this is just fluff. Walking the dog in the park. Okay. I would love to do it, but that's fluff. That's if I have enough time. If I do this and this and this and this, right? Right.
Okay.
Wrong.
Well, hopefully the dog gets a walk.
Yes, hopefully. Because then you have to have the carpet cleaner on your list, right? Okay, so this is what you want to do. You simply want to ask your business, or if it's your life, or just ask the list, okay? All you have to do is ask, what can I do, or what can I be and do right now that would create the greatest contribution to my business, my money, my body, whatever you're looking for, you see? And
Okay.
then, however you want to do it, okay? Make believe you're a 5-year-old girl playing, okay?
Mhm.
Either you close your eyes and you just put your finger down, or you just get an awareness, like when you look down at the pad, this walk the dog in the park, the last one on the page, it's just popping up. Okay, that, and then you look at it and you go, what? I had to call Mr. Smith at the bank and I had to make the reservations. And your pad, you're telling me to walk my dog in the park? Yes, that's what your awareness is telling you. So if you're the good girl, okay, then you get the dog and you go to the park. Now I'm going to tell you a true story of a friend of mine who once was doing that and took a walk with her dog in Central Park in New York and walked, got a little tired, sat down on the bench, and the business that she was doing at the time, she had to get in touch with someone, a CEO from some company, and could not reach that person. I was looking for friends who might know the secretary. You know how that is.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
as she's sitting there, a woman comes by, and now she sits down with her dog, and guess what?
That's the CEO.
That's the CEO. And after sitting and playing with dogs, the whole thing was created. That's the magic of the universe. And that is the way that we were really meant to live our lives. Lives were not supposed to be in structure with insanity, with hard work.
Okay.
Being here on this planet was supposed to be play and joy and ease and creation. And we made a very big wrong turn. And
Hmm.
unless we choose to change that, I don't know how long our planet has. So, what would it take for you and everyone who might be listening to be willing to choose joy and play and see what occurs in your life? And by the way, the energy of joy and play is the same energy of money. So when you want to play with money and you want to invite money into your life, have more play and joy, and you will see. And if you look at your life, and most people I ask this question, they say yes. When you go on a vacation and you're having fun, all of a sudden a client or some way for you to receive money occurs while you're away.
Interesting. Okay.
So all the to-doing that they tell you to do at all those groups, you have to do this, you have to do, don't listen. Ask your own questions. Have your awareness. Go by your GPS system and your life will change.
Okay. I like that. Someone asked me once what was the best advice I ever got as a startup founder, and I said the best advice I ever got was not to take people's advice. So you've just repeated that
Exactly.
again.
Absolutely. Because then you're going into the insane asylum and listening to one of the inmates.
Yeah. All right. Well, gosh, this has been really great. I'm going to start trying to practice some of these tools, Barbara, and I'll let you know how it
Yes.
goes.
And if you live them, if you be them, your life will change.
Okay. Well, I will let you know how it goes. And if
Yes,
anyone out
absolutely.
there wants to talk to Barbara, you can reach her at her website, and I'll put a link to that in the comments below here.
Yes, and I do lots of classes and trainings and wonderful things.
And you're here in Portland, Oregon with me, and you're part of Women with Moxie, and I'm sure lots of other networking groups as
Yeah.
well. So we will see you very soon, I'm sure.
Okay, and thanks.
All right. Thank
Have a great
you.
day.
Yeah, thanks.